Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Atlanta Falcons Today. We're going to get into my training camp news and rumor video here in just 1 second, but I wanted to pop on here kind of after we already filmed the training camp video a couple of minutes ago and update you on the Deshaun Watson suspension. Now you're probably saying, Thomas, why are the Falcons channel, why is this Falcons channel talking about Deshaun Watson? You got to remember, one, the Falcons were really close to getting Deshaun Watson, and so of course Cleveland offered him $230 million of guaranteed money, and two, the Falcons have a current player who was suspended way longer than Deshaun Watson seemingly will be suspended. Now, that was the recommendation by the independent investigator. I forget her name, Sue Robinson or something like that. She says 6 games for violating the conduct policy, whereas Calvin Ridley, who bet on the Atlanta Falcons to win, he gambled on the Falcons, heaven forbid, he got an entire year. Another question rises from Falcon fans, should Ridley appeal the suspension? I think he 100% should. Either way, Calvin Ridley should be pissed. I mean, Calvin Ridley is forfeited, $11-12 million of his salary this year. He's not going to play this year. That's 1 year taken away from what's always a short NFL lifespan. You only stay in the league for so long. And here's Deshaun Watson with, 23, 24 sexual assault allegations, some of which he had to settle. Allegedly with the people that were involved with this, so he's paying money for the settlement to go ahead and end, and he only gets 6 games. I think the NFL is going to maybe come down a little bit harder when they actually give their official review, aka Roger Goodell. But the fact that Ridley gets a year, whereas Deshaun Watson gets 6, to me is just absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of Falcon players are noting this as well. A tweet you see on your screen right now from Cordell Patterson sums it all up very, very well. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, 6 games is absolutely crazy. And so, again, doesn't necessarily impact the Falcons, although now Deshaun Watson will be out when the Browns play Atlanta. I think it's week, 4, 5? I forget which week it is. One of the first 6 weeks. But the fact that he gets 6 games and Ridley gets a whole year for gambling, heaven forbid, a couple of dollars on the Falcons winning is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, we'll just start with this. Hashtag Free Ridley. Give me a comment down below in the comments section. Type hashtag Free Ridley to voice your annoyance, let's just say that, with what's going on right now versus Deshaun Watson and Calvin Ridley. Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Atlanta Falcons Today. Happy Monday. Happy week 2 of training camp. We're going to jump into the latest Atlanta Falcons news and rumors here to get you guys up to date on all the practice stuff that happened over the weekend. Atlanta has been up at Flowery Branch. They're currently, upon filming this video on a Monday morning, practicing right now. The pads are coming on, and things are starting to get a little bit exciting. So, I think today's video is going to be focusing on the news that's coming out of training camp and the things you may be reading or hearing, whether it's on the radio, whether it's at a blog post, or just on Twitter. Let's break down, maybe give you more details on what exactly has been going on. First, let's jump into the fights that happened to end practice yesterday. So this was a national media headline. Like, it was on SportsIllustrated.com. I saw it on ESPN. I saw it on the local stuff as well. And the whole headline was the Falcons had to end practice early because there were 2 fights, not 1, but 2 fights between players on the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the good news is, if you're worried about people getting injured, all the fights were between backup players, and so there weren't any starting players, fighting between each other, which, again, if they're backup players, not that it's not a big deal, it still is, but it's more so the fact that these guys are trying to make a roster spot, and if people are annoying them, you're lining up against the defensive lineman as an O-lineman, and he's, holding you every single player, whatever, you might want to go ahead and push back a little bit further. Now, the question that a lot of people are seeing, I'm seeing on Twitter, should Atlanta Falcon fans be worried about camp fights? Is Arthur Smith unable to, keep track of these guys or, hold these guys accountable? No, this is ridiculous. It's really not that big of a deal. Let me show you why. Here was the Falcoholic on the Falcon fights, giving you some more details from guys who were actually recovering practice up at training camp. Quote, late in the session, tempers began to flare. It began with a fight between defensive tackle Dalton and offensive tackle Germain Ifedi, where Dalton ran in from across the field to get at Ifedi. Undrafted free agent Derrick Tangelo had a TFL on the final play of practice, which ended up sparking another scuffle. Arthur Smith called it after that, as practice had already gone over the scheduled end time. There you go. It had already gone over the scheduled end time, and so a little scuffle breaks out. All right, we're done. Let's go ahead and get in to either the weight room or the recovery room or whatever they do after practice. Here's the deal. I love hearing about these fights. To me, you should be having fights at training camp, and most teams do have fights at training camp. It shows these people actually care about what is going on. They matter, or it matters in terms of if they make the team or not. Like, you're talking about undrafted free agents and, rookies and young guys who are trying to make a living, get a contract, play for an actual NFL team. A lot of these guys, you might not even heard of Derrick Tangelo, but he's trying to make a practice squad, right? I mean, a 53-man roster could just be a practice squad squad. I think fights are good. I think it shows that the intensity has been up at Falcons Training Camp, and I'll be honest with you, I read a lot of the updates from people that are there, a lot of the beat writer tweets and stuff like that. They've been looking decent at practices so far. They've had some solid practices, and that doesn't mean that practices are going to equate to wins and actual games being won week 1 through week 18, but it does show that I think Arthur Smith is running a tight ship, and I have no issue with some of these practice fights. Add a break, pin comment down below. How worried are you about camp fighting? Do you ever, does it even bother you? To me, it only bothers me if someone were to get injured, and very rarely do fights go that far. Not a big deal to me, but give me your scale from 1 to 10 about how worried you are about camp fighting. Let's move over to some more serious news here in terms of roster battles. This one is definitely the one I've been keeping an eye on a lot, the offensive side of the football. Wilkinson has been winning the guard battle. He's been the starting left guard almost every single day so far through training camp, as they've done, 4 or 5 days of actual being on the football field. Wilkinson has been the left guard in place for Jalen Mayfield. And this obviously is a big, I would say, news story regarding an offensive line that has been really bad over the past couple of years. Obviously, we'll talk about this in a second, but Drew Dalton's been mixing in with Matt Hennessy at center. He's kind of been taking over the center reps as well. And so let's just say the offensive line you're seeing on your screen right now stays. You're talking about 2 different starters compared to what they were last year. I know Drew Dalton mixed in as a starting center, but in reality, it was a Matt Hennessy center position where he was playing, and Jalen Mayfield as the left guard. And so if Wilkinson is playing better than Mayfield, that's why you assume he's going to go ahead and be in there. Same thing goes with Dalton. That means that obviously it is going to hopefully be a much improved offensive line from where it was. Now, Matthews has been the left tackle every single day so far with the ones. Lindstrom has been the right guard every single day, and McGarry has not had any sort of competition so far at the right tackle spot. And so those 3 spots are going to remain the same. I think Elijah Wilkinson, he was not that... was he the favorite at left guard going into camp? I think he was. I thought we'd see a lot more variety in terms of starting Mayfield versus starting Wilkinson, but so far, not been the case, which tells me that Wilkinson is leagues ahead of year 2 left guard Jalen Mayfield, or I guess former drafted to be a tackle Jalen Mayfield, but moving over to left guard last year. Dalton, again, is an interesting one to keep an eye on. I kind of talked about it in a video a couple of months ago. I thought Dalton would very much compete for the center position, and that seems to be the case in what is going on right now. And so, big news on the Falcons offensive line. Again, does it mean that this is guaranteed to be your starting O-line week 1? No, but they're going to start the people they think are needing to be started as early as, day 1 of training camp. And so far, since day 1, this has been your starting offensive line, which includes Elijah Wilkinson and Drew Dalton. Let me know what you guys think in terms of who starts, Jalen Mayfield or Elijah Wilkinson for the left guard spot. Type JM for Mayfield or type EW down below for Wilkinson. I think Elijah Wilkinson is going to win this job. I'd be shocked if he did not, but give me your pick and thoughts down below right now. Okay, well, while you're down there, another big camp standout, which we'll talk about in a second, has been Kyle Pitts. There's no sophomore slump for this tight end. I think he's going to be fantastic this year. If you guys agree, go down below and pick up your Kyle Pitts jersey right now at chatsports.com/Pitts. It is your best shop, best place to go ahead and get an official, Nike Kyle Pitts jersey. It's not a cheap overseas knockoff. This is the real deal. Black, white, red, whatever color that you want. Rep the Atlanta Falcons. Rep Kyle Pitts with what will be the most popular Falcons jersey of the year. Again, link is on your screen and also down below in the description box. Okay, as you'll see us do a lot over the next couple of weeks here as training camp rolls on, we're going to get into the other training camp notes, right? Some of the smaller stories, but really update you on individual competitions, who looks good, who looks bad, how's the quarterback battle going, how do the rookies look, and so we're going to dive into that here in just 1 second. First, though, be sure to subscribe to this channel. We're going to have non-stop Falcon coverage for a very long time. Really, for the rest of the year. This channel's going to be all the time Falcon stuff, but the main focus right now is training camp, and a lot of fun stuff is happening with training camp, so go down below and be sure to subscribe, as we are going to get you guys every single update we possibly can. If they make a move, we'll tell you. If someone's playing badly, we'll tell you. If someone's moving up a depth chart, we'll tell you. If you guys appreciate that, go down below and subscribe. I want to go ahead and get into some other training camp notes here on our Atlanta Falcons newsroom video for a Monday, aka not necessarily the big storylines, the big headlines, but let's update you on some of the guys and how they're looking at some of these position battles as well, starting with Marcus Mariotta. Now, I'm not saying that Desmond Ridder has been bad so far at training camp, but let's just say Marcus Mariotta very clearly is quarterback 1. He is, everything we've heard so far out of Falcons camp is that Mariota looks fantastic. Again, Ridder's been good. A nice touchdown pass to Drake London the other day, but I think that Mariota has pulled himself away and moved himself ahead of Ridder significantly in this quarterback battle. And it's not to say that, again, Ridder can't come back and maybe even win it to start week 1, but the odds of that happening seem to be very slim. I would put my money right now on Mariota winning this battle, at least so far at camp. That seems to be a very common theme. Another common theme is Drake London playing very, very well. I mentioned earlier that Kyle Pitts has been really, really good so far, but this is important to note that Drake London has been absolutely fantastic, and I think that he's very much going to be a really good rookie wide receiver. And I'm not going to say that's 1,000 yards, not going to say he's going to get 80 catches or 10 touchdowns, but I'm expecting a guy who's ready to play week 1. You saw that with wide receivers last year and the year before, right? Jamar Chase was ready to go week 1. His rookie year, Devontae Smith was ready to go week 1 of his rookie year. There are some wide receivers, or more than some, that are coming out of college football right now who are ready to rock, whereas in the past, it would take a couple of seasons, maybe even 2 or 3 for a rookie wide receiver to actually start filling out their potential. I know it's, again, training camp, and everything you say during these videos has to be taken with a grain of salt because they obviously are changing things and moving things around, and every single touchdown reception by London so far is not guaranteeing that it's all him. They could be working on schemes and working on attacking certain DBs and whatever, but he has looked very much the part so far. Also looking the part has been the young safeties, Jalen Hawkins and Richie Grant. Those two have been impressive so far at Falcons Training Camp, which is a story that we've wanted to hear. I mean, I mentioned in terms of my big storylines going into the Atlanta Falcons Training Camp season is that Richie Grant has got to prove that he actually is worth being a second-round draft pick, worth being on this roster. And to me, that means starting at safety. And so he's mixed in there with some of the other veterans you see on your screen, but all good news and all good signs coming out of the DB backfield right now. This is the best position group the Falcons have, especially with the cornerbacks. Obviously, Isaiah Oliver in the slot, and then all the safeties battling it out for a position spot right now. They've looked good, and he's looked very, very good. Finally, again, the O-line will punch on this one more time. I think it is important to note, as mentioned, that Kaleb McGary has not been sharing reps with the first teams in terms of the right tackle position. I think he's very much locked in as your starting right tackle. He is technically got people behind him, most notably Jalen Mayfield, because Mayfield's been bumped out of the starting left guard spot by Elijah Wilkerson, as we talked about. But it is worth noting, it was a question, okay, well, what's going to happen right now with Kaleb McGary? It obviously declined to pick up his 5th-year option as a first-round draft pick a couple of years ago, so he will be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season, barring, a contract extension, which would only come if he actually plays well. And so it was curious to see how that competition would go, but he so far has looked very, very good, or at least has looked good enough to be the starter. That will obviously continue to be a story to watch as we get closer to week 1 and obviously beyond, but so far, no shared snaps right now for Kaleb McGary. He's been the starter alone at right tackle. Okay, what was your biggest takeaway from week 1 of camp? Week 1 officially in the books. I know they technically started on Wednesday of last week, so really only half a week so far. But we're into week 2 right now, so give me your take on what was the biggest takeaway from week 1 down below in the comment section. I'm going to read those and see what you guys think. Okay, all the time we were today on our Atlanta Falcons news and rumor training camp video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. I follow all the guys that are up there at Flowery Branch right now. I'm retweeting a bunch of stuff, very much plugged in terms of things going on. A retweet button is the best thing Twitter ever created, and I'll do a lot of that in the next couple of days and weeks. So give me a follow. @Real Thomas Mott is your one-stop shop for everything regarding your Atlanta Falcons. And be sure to turn on the notification bell because new videos are going to drop on this channel often. I mean, every couple days we're going to have brand new videos here regarding your Atlanta Falcons. So turn on the notification bell and hit the subscribe button as well. We'll end on this mailbag video happening later on this week. Most likely myself or somebody else at Chat Sports will take your questions, which can be asked right now. Go down below, #Falcons in the comment section. Must be a subscriber to get your question answered, but go ahead and ask down below right now. For Atlanta Falcons Today, producer Jeffrey, Thomas Mott signing off. To the rest of your day.